When we think about corporate power in the modern world, we often imagine companies playing by the rules, staying within the lines, and operating transparently. But the reality is far more complex and revealing. Some of the world's largest corporations have crafted narratives about themselves that don't always match their actions. Today, we're exploring a provocative question. Why has Apple earned a reputation as a corporate outlaw, while Nike has positioned itself as a hero? This isn't about personal judgment or moral absolutism. It's about understanding how these two iconic companies operate, where they source their products, how they treat their workers, and what they've chosen to reveal or hide from the public eye. Apple, one of the most valuable companies on the planet, has built its empire on innovation and design excellence. But beneath the gleaming surfaces of its retail stores and the sleek simplicity of its products lies a far more complicated story. The company has long maintained an almost obsessive level of secrecy around its supply chain and manufacturing processes. While other tech companies have published detailed reports about their labor practices and environmental impact, Apple has been notably resistant to full transparency. This secrecy itself becomes a form of rebellion against the modern expectation that corporations should openly account for their actions. Foxconn, the massive manufacturer that produces much of Apple's hardware, has faced repeated scrutiny over working conditions. Reports have documented excessive overtime, inadequate safety measures, and wages that struggle to meet basic living standards. Apple's response has often been defensive, acknowledging problems only when forced by public pressure and media investigations. The company has implemented improvements, certainly, but the fundamental approach remains one of control and limited disclosure. This is the outlaw mentality: doing what you want, revealing only what you must, and resisting external pressure until it becomes impossible to ignore. The e-waste problem exemplifies this further. Apple products are designed with planned obsolescence in mind. They're difficult to repair, and the company aggressively fights the right to repair movement. When these devices end up discarded, they create mountains of toxic electronic waste in developing nations where environmental regulations are weak. Apple profits immensely from this cycle, yet the company has invested relatively little in truly circular manufacturing or product recovery programs. They've created a situation where billions of dollars in value extraction happens, but the environmental and social costs are externalized to countries that can least afford them. This is classic outlaw behavior: maximize benefit, minimize accountability, and rely on distance and complexity to obscure the damage. Apple's relationship with innovation itself has become something of a facade. While the company markets itself as a revolutionary force, much of its success comes from incremental improvements to designs pioneered elsewhere. More importantly, Apple has used its patent portfolio and legal resources to aggressively protect its market position, sometimes in ways that stifled genuine innovation across the industry. The company has fought right-to-repair laws, restricted third-party repairs, and maintained tight control over its ecosystem in ways that benefit Apple but burden consumers. Now let's contrast this with Nike's approach, which reveals a strikingly different corporate philosophy. Nike hasn't always been perfect. The company faced major scandals in the 1990s regarding sweatshop labor and has paid a real price for those revelations. But here's the crucial difference. Nike responded by transforming its entire approach to labor and transparency. The company created Manufacturing Map, a public database that lists every facility that produces Nike products anywhere in the world. You can visit the website right now and see exactly where your shoes were made. This radical transparency became Nike's competitive advantage. Instead of hiding its supply chain, Nike illuminated it. The company has published annual reports detailing labor practices, environmental impact, and specific improvements made. They've engaged with activist organizations rather than opposing them. They've set measurable targets for reducing environmental impact and reported honestly on progress and setbacks. This is heroic corporate behavior, acknowledging past mistakes, opening your operations to scrutiny, and committing to continuous improvement with accountability. Nike's worker programs go far beyond legal minimums. The company has invested in education initiatives, healthcare access, and wage improvements across its manufacturing network. While wages remain a work in progress, Nike has voluntarily increased them beyond what competition or regulation required. The company has also pioneered new manufacturing techniques that reduce both labor intensity and environmental impact. Nike's sustainability initiatives demonstrate this hero narrative too. The company has committed to aggressive timelines for renewable energy adoption in its facilities and supply chain. It's invested in innovative materials that reduce waste and environmental footprint. The Space Hippie collection, for instance, uses recycled manufacturing waste and ocean plastics, proving that sustainability and design excellence aren't contradictory. Nike has also embraced the circular economy concept, creating take-back programs where customers can return old Nike products for recycling. Compare this to Apple's minimal efforts in this space. Nike's athlete empowerment programs represent another stark difference. The company doesn't just sponsor athletes, it invests in communities and social causes. The Colin Kaepernick campaign, while controversial to some, demonstrated that Nike was willing to take social and political stances aligned with its values. The company supports grassroots sports programs in underserved communities, funds women's athletic initiatives, and creates pathways for young athletes from diverse backgrounds. This requires courage and genuine commitment, not just marketing polish. Largely, keeps its corporate responsibility efforts behind closed doors. The company makes charitable donations, certainly, but rarely through employee activism or public advocacy. Apple hasn't taken meaningful social stances or demonstrated willingness to sacrifice profit for principle, the way Nike has with Kaepernick and other initiatives. The comparison extends to corporate culture itself. Nike has built a workplace where employees are encouraged to speak up about social and environmental issues. The company has invested in training and development across its entire value chain. Apple, meanwhile, maintains a culture of extreme secrecy even among its employees. Workers have reported feeling unable to discuss their actual work conditions or concerns. The company maintains strict NDAs and surveillance of employee communications. This secrecy creates an adversarial relationship between leadership and workers versus Nike's more collaborative approach. Consider also how these companies respond to criticism and crisis. When reports emerged about labor conditions at Foxconn, Apple's executives initially dismissed them or blamed manufacturers. The company hired an auditing firm but refused to make full reports public. Improvements came slowly and often grudgingly. Nike, after the 1990s scandals, fundamentally changed how it engages with criticism. The company invites external audits, publishes findings, and genuinely engages with labor rights organizations and NGOs. When problems are identified, Nike commits to fixing them with timelines and verification. This openness to criticism is genuinely heroic. It requires humility and confidence that you can actually improve. The environmental implications are profound too. Apple's business model depends on constant hardware refresh cycles where devices become obsolete or incompatible with new software. The company fights anyone trying to extend device lifespan through repair. Nike, while it does release new product lines annually, has increasingly focused on quality and durability. The company's manufacturing innovations aim to make products that last longer and impact the environment less, even if it means lower short-term sales volume. Innovation for Apple means proprietary designs that lock in customers. Innovation for Nike means discovering ways to make better products with less environmental cost.